We have seen that Fosi Audio can make solid amplifiers and preamplifiers, but what about speakers, and do I all of a sudden like white speakers now? This is a deep dive into the brand new Fosi Audio SP601 speakers, a new product from Fosi, though I don't think this is their first time making speakers. However, they have been on a tear lately, releasing tons of new products, and these are a great fit into this new lineup. Once again, Fosi Audio did send these to me to share with you and test out, and I do get to keep them. They do not ask for any previews of these videos or scripts or outlines or anything like that. Whatever I say, I can say, and they don't mind, and I think they do that because they're making some great products that they stand behind, and I can say that they definitely do have some great customer service, and even still, the stuff is extremely affordable, and you can get most of it most of the time on Amazon with free shipping, sometimes even on a discount, and free returns if you don't like something. So this is not like a life-altering expense if you decide to try these out. But if you're looking for a solid bookshelf passive speaker, let's check out the Fosi SP601s. Now first, out of the box, Fosi is very minimal with its products and even the packaging. These are packaged very well and shipped very safely, and we basically just get the speakers themselves, the grills, and some paperwork, and that is it. And these are the white version of the speakers with the orange or copper colored drivers. They offer other colors, but we're going to get back into that in a little bit. These are actually much bigger than I first expected, and as you can see here, they're kind of almost filling up the frame here. I was thinking they would be a little bit smaller based on the pics showing them on desktops and in situations like that. And they are rear ported with a bass reflex design, and they do have very good connections on the backside here if you want to use banana plugs for your speakers, which I highly recommend you definitely do that. These speakers also have a little bit of a grip on the bottom of them as well, which is actually very nice because it spans the whole width of the speaker. So if your speaker stands aren't that large, they'll still have a grip on them, and the grip kind of goes across the whole bottom. I actually like having a little bit of a flat grip like this rather than individual feet in case those feet don't line up with whatever speaker stand you might own. I've been using these basically with a cheap set of speaker stands that I picked up on Amazon that I've been using for the longest time now, and they serve the purpose really well. I have links for them in the description below, but again, because these have the padding on the entire bottom, the speaker stands still fit with them pretty nicely. I do really like the magnetic grills that they have, though I also really like the look of the speakers without the grills. So it's nice that there aren't any clip holes or anything like that. So if you choose to take off the grill, you don't have to deal with that. It's a good aesthetic without the grill. But anything that uses magnets as a connection, I am a super big fan of. So they make them easy to take on and off of the speakers. Now I'm going to put the tech specs on the screen here. I don't even know how to do speaker like calibration or rating tests and all that stuff. My approach is real world applications. I put these in my room and I listen to them. I move them to another room and I listen to them. I try different sources and music, and in this case, some different but similar amplifiers. And I can say the SP601s can be driven very well by the Fosi V3 monoblocks or the Fosi V3 stereo amplifier, which is a very good bargain amplifier for the price of it too. I've been mainly testing these in a smaller room. This room that you see here, this is kind of filled with a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff right over off camera here that you can't really see, but there's a lot of stuff in this room, but the room is not treated at all. And neither is the other room that I've been testing these on, which is the larger room on the first floor of the house where I have my main turntable set up and my larger setup and things like that. So that is a much bigger room. Again, no carpets, hardwood floors, and the whole room itself is not treated. I'm going to change that in the future, and I know that that is a huge part of the process with testing speakers, or at least like even trying to get a good definitive sound out of something, but just keep that in mind. Now, what stands out to me with these is the overall large sound and good bass relative to the price. And again, I think that's just because these are much bigger than I thought they would be. In terms of the price, I do try to not put the prices for things in the videos since prices change so much nowadays. Depending on when you see this video, it could be higher. Hopefully someday it could be lower, but they are definitely in the sub $500 range. And for that, you are getting a really, really good value in my opinion. I do find that these perform well when moved farther out from a wall. I have these in a tight space down here, and when I listen, I usually try and pull these out from the wall and give them a little bit more room to breathe. I personally also like to have a subwoofer in my setup. So I guess I prefer a 2.1 channel setup, but I did try these out for a while without the subwoofer just to, see how they sound on their own. And they do have a very good bass sound. I think again, because of the size of the cabinet. This is also a 6.5-inch woofer and a 1.5-inch silk dome tweeter, but for these kinds of smaller speakers, I just like having the presence of a subwoofer no matter what. And apparently Fosi is coming out with a new subwoofer to go with these that they've been teasing. So if you would like to see a review of that, definitely let me know in the comments and definitely subscribe. So if I do get one, you can definitely check it out and we can pair them with these. I can say that these do provide very good detail, but I do find that I was using the tone controls a lot on the P4 preamp, which usually I don't, to try to get a little bit more clarity with these. The mid-range is also a little bit hollow with these, but again, with some tone controls, it kind of evens out pretty well. Now, if you're an audio purist in that way and you don't like to handle any tone controls, these might be a little bit more inconsistent for you. But I will say that they do have a great presence from the bottom end and the top end. Just that mid-range just kind of lacks just a little bit, I would say. Now, using them in a larger room, they do fill the room pretty nicely. I would probably recommend keeping them to a smaller room, but here I'm also using them with the monoblock amplifiers and a different subwoofer, and overall I find it to be a very good sound. And honestly, if these were my only speakers and I didn't have like another set of like larger speakers in that room, I probably wouldn't be able to directly A/B these and notice that big of a difference. So I think if you do have a larger room, you probably would be fine with these, again, because I think that these are much bigger than I at least thought they were. Now, in both of these rooms, I was previously using the Sony CSS5 bookshelf speakers for a while, and they do have a little bit more clarity, probably due to the additional driver that they have. But I like the overall body and soundstage to these, and I've actually chosen to keep using them in this smaller room setup. Now, keep in mind, Sony does have a version 2 of those speakers that they've just released, and those are also a little bit cheaper than these. So if you want to make a direct comparison there, maybe the Sony would have a slight edge with its little bit better clarity and a little bit cheaper price. Now, real quick, let's talk about the design of these. I have mentioned the size a little bit, but as you can see here, aesthetically, these do kind of give the vibe of like other speaker companies out there. And I think a lot of people will say that they're probably trying to copy that brand with these like orange or copper tone drivers. But I can say that almost every one of Fosi's products has like this copperish orange tone color. I think orange is the main color of the company, but they did make the cabinet of these white. Now, they also do have a black version of these where the drivers themselves are black as well. And so that just makes it look like any other black and white speaker that's out there on the market. And they apparently have a black cabinet with a white ring around the black driver and the gold, still there, or the copperish gold color still there. But I haven't actually seen that officially available on their site. Although I think like on a social media post somewhere, I saw like a black cabinet version of these speakers. Personally, I like black cabinet speakers and I would prefer them, mainly because I like most of my hi-fi equipment to be black and everything to just kind of have like a very minimal look to it. But I have to say, these have really grown on me, and having them in the room here with other Calyx shelves, and I actually just got a new shelf for some of my hi-fi equipment, and I got it to be white just to match these because I actually liked the way that these white speakers kind of stood out. I know that people are going to say, it does not matter how speakers look, it only matters how they sound. Well, if you live with a significant other, they care about how things look in your house. And if you want to have stuff in a common area, you want it to look nice when people come over. And And I think that these are right in the sweet spot of not being too large to take over a room, but they can still fill the room with sound, and they still have like kind of a minimalist vibe to it. And if you want to keep everything white in your modern design layout, I think these would look really good. I personally like the way things look, and it is a big factor when I'm buying my hi-fi products is how something looks. Now, I mostly have been listening to vinyl with these, but I have tested out some cassettes. I've also streamed some stuff through Apple Music. That's basically the only kind of like digital streaming that I use stuff for. And I don't have a desktop or a near field listening setup. But this room, again, like I mentioned, is kind of tight. So it's probably like a near field experience. And I can say that, I mean, it pretty much excels in all the different types of music that I've been listening to it with. And I do get a really nice warm sound out of these when I'm listening to vinyl. So it's not too clinical, and it's not as if because these are smaller bookshelf speakers that you're getting that very thin sound to them. I think that because these actually have a little bit larger of a cabinet on the side, that you're getting more of a presence with them. Now, some cons about these might actually be that size. Maybe you're looking for a much smaller compact speaker to go onto your desktop. I just don't think that these would fit very well in a desktop situation just because of how deep they are. Now, in the world of hi-fi, these are affordable, but again, they can be pricey compared to some other speakers out there like the Sony CSS5 Mark I or Mark IIs. And also, the color of these might be a turnoff for some people because maybe you prefer wood-looking speakers, or maybe you do prefer black speakers. If you do add the grills to these, I mean, as you can see here, they kind of like black out themselves when you put the grill onto them, so it's not as stark of a white look with them. But again, if that's something that's important to you, maybe that's something you want to consider with these. Overall, I've been having a lot of fun with these SP601 speakers, and paired with a lot of other Fosi hi-fi products, they fit right in, and you're not breaking the bank to use these or any of their stuff really. And I'm looking forward to pairing these with their future subwoofers. So again, if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments so that they can see those comments and maybe they'll want to send one out to me. I want to thank Fosi Audio for sending me any of these products. And if there are any companies out there that are interested in having their products looked at on this channel, my contact information is in the description below. As always, if you want to support this channel, the best way to do so is to watch some other videos on this channel. It's not even to subscribe or to like the video or anything, just watch another video on the channel, like this one here or this one here. I'm gonna go listen to some awesome vinyl on these SP601 speakers. I will see you on the next one.